Nakia also said, why aren't more men taking the babies and being custodial parents versus the mom?
Are women allowing that?
I can answer this one, but I'm
do
gonna be
women
quiet.
allow that? Like, do women actually allow men to be custodial parents? Like, y'all allowing that?
The law doesn't.
I'm just over here like, that's a real thing. Is that an option? Because all I hear is, and I have men in my family, and I can speak on this, and I literally have men in my family have gone through this. Like, y'all do that? Y'all just like give y'all kids up and let the dads be dads?
Let me ask this question.
They'll get a baby delicious before they give the child up to the father of the child. They'll do that before they actually,
I think it's a great idea. I just didn't know women were that willing to do it.
I'd rather the father have not the child than to bring the child to life and give the child to the father. That's the route that a lot of women take for a number of reasons. I won't go into, but that's it.
Yeah, let me ask this question, and I'm gonna come back because I saw the panel. I saw y'all was ready to respond to that. So to this question, question to you, Nakia, let's say, because I don't have the information. I want to understand this point right here. Do you think that most of these moms want the father to have custody of the children, or do they want him to have custody of the children after they tired? No. This is the honest question. Because in the initial stages, I don't see that many women that want the father to have custody. Yeah, because typically, you know what I'm saying, there's a decent amount of women out here who look at having the kids as a level of power and control. So they don't typically want to give the kids up or give up the custody. So they will take the kids. But then later on, I've seen situations where some ladies will say, okay, yeah, now I want to live my life. I want to get outside. So now they want to pass the kids on to the father. So I'm just curious, is it more of that's really what they want from the beginning? Or is that what they want on their terms? Yeah, but that's the question I would have to this, because like I said, I've seen examples of this going on out here. So yeah, let me know what you say on that, Nakia. All right, let me come back to the panel real quick, then I'll get back in these comments. Vince, I saw you hop off. I know JR was trying to say something. Either one, go ahead.
Now, first, that's a deflection that Nakia is talking about. There's absolutely no way a mother's going to give her child up to the father. First of all, she's carried that child for 9 months. She's bonded with that child. First of all. So that's just one of those things of, well, a deflection. Most women will not give that child. Now, they'll give the teenage son who she can't control any longer to the father. Come get your son, but then it's too late.
Yeah,
right.
If you're gonna give him to him at about 4 or 5 after he off the titty, because then he really don't need you no more. Not to be raised. Now, back to the question. Why are some black men deadbeats? I think because they make a choice to be a deadbeat. And then I also think that they should be husbands before they are fathers. Because our culture has decided that marriage is no longer needed, a requirement, and that fathers in the home is no longer a requirement. It's not a requirement. I get into it all the time. Well, it's got to be a happy relationship. It can't be toxic. It can't be this. It can't be that. But then we also have to understand women want to think like women in the situation and don't listen to the men. And the reason why I'm saying that is that when a man marries a woman, there's a responsibility that he takes for that woman. Legally, spiritually, and in the eyes of God. If you are married to a woman, you don't have to go to court. That's your baby. You don't have to tell the court, I'm taking my baby to Atlanta for 5 months. If you're a child's father without marriage, you have no rights until they are established in court. And I didn't even know that. I told you, I was looking to sign the birth certificate for my current kids, and the nurse had to tell me, you their father. Well, you're married to their mother. You don't have to sign the birth certificate. That's how ignorant we have become in our culture. And I think that's part of the problem. We are just having sex. We're not trying to make kids. We're not trying to make families. And like I told you before, most of the men that I know that were husbands are usually less likely to be deadbeats. Because at some point in that relationship, he took on the responsibility of that woman and he really loved her. And if a man loves that woman, he's gonna love that child. That's just my opinion. That's what I've seen. You know, these guys walk around with 3, 4, 5 baby mamas. He didn't marry none of them women. Not a one. So I think that our culture is just so far removed from how things are really supposed to work. Because then they'll say, well, you know, I know plenty of people who are unhappy in their marriage. I know men, but let's look at the statistics and the overall general, you know, all of it together. So I think, you know, being a deadbeat, I think and I have to admit, I didn't know my value either. I really didn't know my value until I did it differently the second time around. I thought, you know, I'm the weekend dad. I'm the fun dad. I talk to him on the phone. He know where his daddy at. She know where her daddy at. They can call me anytime they want to. Anything they ask me for, I give it to them. But it's not enough. And you don't really realize until your kids get grown. And then we know it. But most people not going to admit that. Most people not going to admit, you know what? It just wasn't enough. I should have really just tried to make it work with that other parent if it was possible. They're not going to admit that. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to admit they raised a soft-ass son. They're not going to admit it. Nigga, you can't keep a job. You know, they're not going to admit, you know. And then a lot of these fathers I see they parent out of guilt. You know, because their relationship is already toxic with the child, then it's, you know, they really can't say anything to the child. They really can't really put anything into the child. So until we really change our culture, you know, like I've been saying all along, I don't see anything, because there really is no value for husbands and fathers. They really, you know, everybody, I don't need no man. I don't need no, they going to getting test tube babies and not even thinking about this child is not going to have a father. Oh, I can be the mother and the father. Oh, okay. Let's see how that turned out for you.
You ain't lying about that. I done heard that as well. What's good? It's your boy Quay Price, holding it down for Candid Combos. Man, if you enjoyed this video, man, go check out this next one.